Greetings of the day. In this video, let us see about the 4th to 8th weeks of the development, which essentially includes the organogenesis and also the folding of the embryo. So, here, apart from this one, we will be learning about the connecting stop during the 5th week and external features of the 8 week old embryo and different important events happening during this 4th to 8th weeks. So now before that one, let us have just a revision that there are the three germ layers. So from the superficial to deep, they are the ecto, endo, and then the mesoderm. So ecto, endo, and mesoderms. So these are the three germ layers from outside to the inside, or you can say superficial to the deep. So here this is the superficial structure, and here this is the deep structure. So all the tissues and the organs essentially they come from these three layers only. So in general, just to for a superficial discussion, the ectoderm gives rise to the nervous system and lining of the surface of the body, whereas the mesoderm gives rise to the reproductive, cardiovascular, urinary, musculoskeletal systems of the body, whereas endoderm it lines the GIT and the respiratory tracts and the derivatives. And now, before going further here, in this lesson or in this video, we will be learning about the folding of the embryo. So, first of all, let us try to understand why the folding of the embryo takes place. Due to the rapid embryonic growth, what happens is that due to the rapid embryonic growth, the growth will be very high, and due to which what happens is that the trilaminar embryo disc, what does it do is that it takes it gets folded on itself. Okay, so that is why it is called as the folding of embryo, and due to which finally a miniature form of the human body will be forming. So due to the folding of the embryo, we will be seeing the miniature form of the human body. Miniature form of the human body is seen due to the folding of the embryo. So now before going further, let us try to understand by the diagram in the form of a diagram, what are the layers here we will be seeing here. So, as seen in the mid-sagittal section between the amniotic cavity above and the yolk sac below, so in the cranio-caudal order, let us try to understand in the cranio-caudal order before the folding. So, first of all, above there is the amniotic sac here. This is the amniotic sac, and here for our understanding, let's change the color. And what is happening is that here there will be the yolk sac. There will be the yolk sac here. Okay. So now here there will be the neural plate here. Neural plate, and then here septum transversum, and then there behind the septum transversum there will be the pericardial cavity and the heart tube. So let us label them one by one. So this is the amniotic cavity, this is the yolk sac, and here this is the septum transversum. This is the septum transversum, and here there is the pericardial cavity, and just a line like structure, that is the heart tube. That is the heart tube. So this is the embryonic structure. So from above to below we will be from craniocaudal direction, here we will be seeing, and still the labeling is there. So this is the neural plate, and here this is the connecting stop connecting, sorry, this is the allantois, which is cover, or which is covered by the, or encircled by the connecting stop, that is by the connecting stop. So this is how the picture looks like just before the formation of the head and tail folds. Okay, so later what is happening is that the craniocaudal folding happens, and the folding of an embryonic disc, which is a very important event in the establishment of the miniature form, and this folding occurs in the both median and the horizontal planes due to the rapid growth of the embryo. So now folding of the embryo in the median plane, that is the craniocaudal folding, we have seen in the first picture before formation. Now after formation what is happening is that, let us try to understand. So here this picture will be changing into, okay, so now the amniotic cavity will be comparatively very much increasing in size. So this is the amniotic cavity, and for our understanding we will be using the yolk sac with a different color. Okay, so this is how the growth changes, and here once again let us see the labeling. So this is the amniotic cavity, this is the amniotic cavity, and here the same once again, that is the allantois, that is the allantois, and here allantois and covered by the covering stock. And now here some are the changes we have to understand here. So now most importantly, the point to be understood very clearly is that the heart tube comes inside the pericardial cavity, and which is followed by the septum transversum. So here this is the heart tube within the pericardium. So this is the heart tube in pericardium, and here this is the septum transversum. So this is the septum transversum. So and now here we will be calling this as the primitive gut tube. So this is the primitive gut tube. Okay, so here the same once again the primitive gut tube, and above that one there will be the neural tube. Okay, so here this is how the folding of the embryo takes place. So let us just have a brief view once again. So the head fold is formed at the end of the this is the this end, you can say, that is the head fold at the end of the third week due to the rapid growth of the cranial portion of the neural tube. So this is the region, and now due to which the septum transversum, which was lying cranial, now it becomes ventral to it. Okay, so now after this one, the head heart tube which was lying below the pericardial cavity now lies within or above that one. So and now coming to this end, that is the tail fold, what is happening is that the cloaca is now separated from the amniotic cavity by the cloacal membrane, and connecting stalk now gets attached. Now after this one, the folding of the embryo in the horizontal plane, or we can say that is the lateral folding. Okay, so the lateral folding takes place. Okay, so now we will be seeing about the lateral foldings. So first of all, let us try to understand what is mean by the lateral foldings. The embryo folds on itself in the horizontal plane, and that too why? Because due to the rapid growth of somates. So the main reason attributed is the rapid growth of the somates. So the reason attributed is the rapid growth of the somates, and then after this one, what is happening is that, so the superficial layer of the ectoderm that thickens in the middle to form the neural plate, and what is happening into the neural plate, which in turn forms the neural tube to lie in the midline below the ectoderm. So just to, in any easy way, we will be writing that the neural tube lies in the midline. neural tube Neural tube lies in the midline, so where exactly it is? Below the ectoderm, so these are the salient features we have to understand while drawing. So here in this half I will be drawing the diagram. So before that one, what we let us try to understand what are the important events. So the middle layer of the intraembryonic mesoderm in the middle, what does it do is that it holds the two tubes together. So most importantly, the folding of the sides of the embryo forms the right and left lateral folds, and they move medially towards the midline, and they fuse to each other to form the anterior abdominal wall. So in an easy way, so this is the embryo first point, and here what is it doing is that it is folding like this. Sorry. So now after this one, let us try to understand what is it doing. So here it is folding like this. So one fold and the second fold. Okay. In the further next stage, these folds are coming nearer to each other like this. Okay, and now in the next stage the folds are fusing to form the anterior abdominal wall. Okay, so the lateral folds move medially. So here we can see, here it is lateral folds and they are going medially. Okay, so which is very evident clear here, and they all fuse to form the anterior abdominal wall. So due to which what is happening is that the embryo is becoming cylindrical and with a surface depression, that is the umbilicus. So here this is the diagram or a simple flow chart how the circular embryonic disc which forms the right and left lateral folds, they come medially to each other and fuse, and then immediately in the midline there will be a small circular aperture remains which represents the future umbilicus. And now with the formation of the lateral folds, most importantly the communication between the midgut and then the yolk sac narrows to form. Okay, so communication between the yolk sac and then the midgut, it narrows midgut. So we will be writing as the narrows and to form the vitello-intestinal duct. To forms the vitello-intestinal duct, also called as the omphaloenteric duct. So that is the omphaloenteric duct. Omphaloenteric duct. Okay. So now as the embryo is folding on itself, what is happening is that the amniotic cavity in the just a few moments back while drawing the picture. So I have said used the word that amniotic cavity is expanding and completely surrounds the embryo. And now we can easily say that the embryo floats freely in the amniotic fluid, so which serves as the swimming pool. Now, because of the enormous expansion, the extra embryonic cilium almost gets obliterated and the amnion forms the covering of the umbilical cord. So, amnion forms the covering of the umbilical cord. Amnion forms covering of the umbilical cord. Okay, so this is how. And now let us, this is how the lateral foldings are happening. So now let us try to understand effects of the folding of the lateral embryo, effects of the folding of the embryo. So because of the formation of the folds, what is happening is that the flat embryonic disc becomes cylindrical, so which we have discussed, the umbilicus is also forming, and now the ectoderm forms the outer covering. So let us have a note, like note in the form of a note. Why? Because many a times it is the important 3 marks question for effects of the lateral folds. So now we will be writing the effects of the lateral folding. So which is the important 3 marks question. So effects of lateral foldings of the embryo. So in the effects of the lateral folding, so what happens is that first of all, the umbilical ring will be forming. So formation of the umbilicus, formation of the umbilical ring, as we have said in this, as it is evident here, it is in this picture, that is the umbilicus. And secondly, what is happening is that the ectoderm forms the outer covering. So let us make a note. Ectoderm forms the outer covering. Ectoderm forms outer covering, and now an embryo becomes fully surrounded. Embryo becomes surrounded. Embryo becomes surrounded by the amniotic cavity. So now here that, and the part of the yolk sac gets incorporated to form the primitive gut. So primitive gut is also forming now. So now primitive gut is formed, and then after this one, the cranial end of the primitive gut is now separated from the stromatodium by the buccopharyngeal membrane, and that means so stomodium and primitive gut, cranial end, primitive gut, cranial end. So what is it happening is that these both are separated by the buccopharyngeal membrane. So buccopharyngeal membrane, buccopharyngeal membrane, and caudal end of the primitive gut. So the next event is that caudal end of the primitive gut is from separated from the proctodium. So proctodium and caudal end. Caudal end is separated by the cloacal membrane. Cloacal membrane. Now the connecting stalk, which is the future umbilical cord, now becomes attached to the ventral aspect of the embryo. So now here let us have a picture of these uh, ventral foldings here once again in a clear view. So here this is the fold and this is the buccopharyngeal membrane. So we will be writing as BP membrane, and after this one, that is the at this end, that is the cloacal membrane. That is the cloacal membrane. So what is happening is that, so which further what is happening is that the folds will be there. So now let us try to understand here. So this is the head bulge, and then here this is the stomatodium, and so this is the stomatodium, and here umbilical opening. So let me label here. So this is the head bulge, and here this is the stomatodium, stomodium, and here this is the pericardial bulge, and lastly that is the umbilical opening. Umbilical opening. So finally what is happening, what happens is that so further from the side view we can understand here, this is how the view looks like. So head bulge, stomatodium depression, and the pericardial bulge, umbilical opening, and this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is the head bulge. So this is the stomodium. Okay, and here this is the pericardium, and lastly here this is the small opening which is the umbilical opening. So here now these are the changes. So the connecting stalk, that is the future umbilical cord, is also been seen, and now allantois is getting connected to the terminal part of the hindgut, and the head containing the brain now forms the cranial most part of the embryo, and septum transversum and the pericardial cavity now lies on the ventral aspect, and septum transversum now lies caudal to the primitive heart tube. So depression is formed between the head and the pericardial bulges. So this called as the stomodium, and separated from the cranial end by the buccopharyngeal. That's what I have written there. And two halves of the peritoneal cavity now fuse to form a single peritoneal cavity. So now let us try to understand in a pictorial way how the folding of the embryo and the formation of the umbilical cord takes place, and which is followed by the formation of the primitive gut, and with which we will be ending the video. So now we will be seeing the formation of the early umbilical cord. Formation of the early umbilical cord. So and also the primitive gut. So now here, let us try to understand the picture in the simpler way. So first of all, this is the embryo, bicicular embryo, in which first of all there will be a upper half, that is the amniotic cavity. Now below that one, that is the yolk sac. So this is the yolk sac, and now surrounding this one, there we will be seeing the extra embryonic coelom, which is a bilayered level. Okay. So now let us see the labeling here. So this is the extra embryonic coelom. Extra embryonic coelom, and here above that one, that is the trophoblast. Above that one, that is the trophoblast, and below that one, that is the splagnopluric mesoderm, and here this is the area where there is no connection, that is the connecting stalk. Connecting stalk, and here this is the allantois. So now later, what is the happening is that the folding of the embryo takes place, and now here we will be seeing in a different way. Okay, so this is the amniotic cavity, and so what we will do is that with the difference. Okay, so here okay, so now once in the labeling here we will be seeing. So this is the amniotic cavity, and after this one, this is the hind gut. Here we can see hind gut, and that is the vitalointestinal. So this intestinal duct, and here, so that is, and further further growth will be happening, and due to which what is happening is that at this end, at this area, this is the area where the future umbilical cord will be forming. So here we can say that is the umbilical cord. That is the umbilical cord. Okay, so and then the primordium of the umbilical cord, which is also called as the connecting stalk. So within the connecting stalk, in the fifth week will be a extra embryonic mesoderm, vital intestinal duct, remnants of the yolk sac, and then the allantois. So now after this one, the primitive gut, what is happening is that it is getting divided into three parts. It is getting divided into three parts. So here we will be writing, this is the foregut. So here foregut, and in the middle part, that is the midgut. And lastly here I already have labeled, that is the hindgut, where they will be ended by the cloacal membrane. So now here this is how the formation of the primitive gut takes place, and these are the important events which will be happening in the 4th to 8th weeks. Due to the rapid growth, the circular folds happen in the craniocaudal direction and also in the horizontal plane, and that is why this is called as the third to eighth weeks. They are extremely sensitive to the disruption by the teratogens, and there is a more chance for the congenital malformations can happen if the baby developing is exposed to the teratogens. So with this, I will end the video. Thank you.